5, 6, 7, 8. It's a mess. Oh, it's a mess.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. It's a mess, sis. So, what exactly is a mess? A mess is a situation or a state of affairs that is confused or full of difficulties.
The mess is when things don't go the way you plan. It is when you have to go off script, improvise, ad lib, sit through the awkwardness, and breathe through the pain until you come out on the other side, because you will come out on the other side. It is everything that makes life interesting and transformative. It is what we are here to do. It is how we learn how to be.
So, join us as we dive into this week's mess.
It's a mess. Oh. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to It's a Mess, Sis, my favorite podcast. I am Jessica, and I am a mess. I've spent my whole life chasing perfection, only to realize that there is no such thing, and chasing it led me down a road to misery. I now know that peace and alignment should be my goal in all that I do. And through these episodes, I've been able to explore my deepest fears and my wildest fantasies, and I hope you'll join me and do the same.
All right, it's lovely every time you say it.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Rena. I'm your other co host, and I'm just out here living. I currently reside in the DMV. I'm a content producer, writer, feeler, thinker. I just like making things and being creative. I've been on my own personal self development journey for the past few years now, and I'm using this podcast as an outlet to share what I've learned, struggled with, and what I continue to absorb because I believe that not only can it help myself, but it can help others who resonate with my story and experiences. I'm also working to develop my vision and purpose in life, which I've narrowed down so far to talking and writing and loving on people while I get paid for it.
That's dope. So that's
Thank
a
you.
little bit about us. And you guys are joining us for episode 41 entitled, Does Your Label Stick? How do you identify? And this is going to be a really fun topic, and we'll get into why we did it and all that jazz. But before we do, we like to talk about the mess. So I'm going to ask Rena, what is your mess this week?
Okay. So my mess this week is that I'm really observing my time
Mhm.
lately. I feel like I have so much that I want to do, and I really want to dig in and budget my time, especially with the
Yeah.
summer coming out. I'm trying to be in these streets,
Period.
streets. But I also want to make sure that I'm getting things that I want done.
Yeah.
And I'm really focused on like prosperity right now and
Okay.
abundance and the things I want out of life, whether it be material or a spiritual experience.
Mhm.
And I feel like I'm finally in a place emotionally where I have the time to do so, to explore that, to really do things.
Okay.
So much time was taken up with just me, just like dealing with existing.
Okay.
So I'm at this point where I'm not saying I have existence down, but I'm like, I'm doing okay. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can add some more. I can stretch myself a little more. I can do a little more.
Okay.
And I really want to take that energy that I have now because I feel like some space has been cleared up essentially.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
want to take that space and really put it into something that I can see.
Okay. And that's abundance.
And that's
That's what.
abundance and prosperity and
Period. Period.
creativity and just and literally I want to curate my experience, the
Yeah.
life I want. I want to have experiences. I just want to I want to just like reallocate my time. Like I'm so used to putting so much time into things that really just didn't resonate with me, that didn't really
Yeah.
matter as much. And I want to
Yeah.
take some of that time back and say, okay, let me put it into um like some of these little designs that I have in my head or put it into my writing, whether it's books or whether it's songwriting, and like actually like complete some of these incomplete cycles. Like I have a lot of stuff in my head. I just want
Yeah.
to see it. I want to manifest it. I want to bring it out of me
Yeah.
into this 3D world.
I love that. That is fucking dope. Yeah. Well, I wish you well on that journey. That's so cool. I can't wait to read whatever you write or hear the songs or whatever. Yeah, I believe this is the time for it, to go ahead and get it out. And like you said, having the space and the energy, freeing the space up from things that didn't resonate with you will allow you to like put your energy and your efforts into the things that do so that you can bring it out into the world. So that's cool. That's really dope.
Right. That's really what I'm feeling. That's
Yeah.
really what I'm feeling.
What
So
a
what
beautiful
about you?
mess. Um, so for me, I just got my headshots. I got my hair cut and then I got the headshots and then I didn't see them, so I had to like contact the photographer. I'm like, yo, what's up? I never got the link, and he's like, yo, I was sending so many links out that Gmail fucked me over, so I sent it from a different link. So he showed me the address he sent from that one, and I had them for so long, but they were in my spam. So I finally got them, and like I looked at them, I loved them. And now it's just narrowing it down. There were so many pictures. He takes like unlimited pictures for this certain amount of time. You get however many looks you can get in that time. And so I have so many like pictures, and now I have to go through and like decipher which ones are the ones I feel like will give me the best shot. So yeah, that's the mess. I'm like going through that because there's a couple of websites I want to sign up for and put my headshots out there so that I can start presenting myself for auditions and like get myself an agent and get myself a manager. And I'm kind of excited and nervous at the same time. I'm just like I'm really in this interesting space about it, but mostly it's excitement. Mostly it's like I got this shit done. I like the pictures. I feel like it's representative of me. I have some that are really like very expressive. I have some that are just very much stoic. It's just my face. This is if this is who you want, this is it. Bare breast, whatever. So I don't know. It's a fun place to be in. I'm looking forward to what is to come from the headshots and like all that stuff. So that's my mess. I'm trying to get into that thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, yeah,
I love it. I
yeah.
really I applaud your investment in yourself and your
Thank
commitment
you.
because I know headshots is something that you've been talking about. And
Mhm,
you've had some headshots, like
mhm,
you have things that you can use as headshots, but to get like official ones,
yeah.
I feel like I'm like, oh yeah, you really you about to step into this thing. It's official.
Right.
You about to make this official. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to see these headshots, even if I have to hack into
Yes.
your computer and view it personally.
Oh. Oh,
I'm
wow, that sounds
happy to
real
do that.
aggressive. This sounds
Or
mad
can I?
aggressive. Because if you could do that, you need to be hacking into other shit so we can be rich. I mean,
Right? Right.
right,
I would do that
right,
first.
right. Do
I
that first.
told you I'm trying to put my energy into abundant places.
Abundant. Period.
Abundance.
Period. Yeah. But yeah, so that's my mess. But I am really excited about it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very excited. And so we'll see. We will see. Um, what were you gonna say?
No, I'm excited for you. I'm like
You
you cast that first stone and I just wonder how far it's gonna carry you. I'm like,
to infinity and beyond. No?
yes. Yes.
Maybe?
Yes.
Maybe? Okay. Well, anyway, that's our mess for this week. And now we're going to delve into the topic, which, if you will remember, is does your label stick?
How do you identify?
Yes. How do you identify? I forgot for like 2 seconds. Yeah. Does
It's
your
okay.
label stick? How do you identify? And then we're going to like dick it down. So, because I said the dick, I'm going to let Rena go ahead and tell us what that actually means. Give the people the agenda for the episode.
We're gonna skip over why this topic and
Oh,
okay.
you know what? No, let's go back. Let's go back. Bag, 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 bag. Okay, just kidding. Okay, so why did we do this topic? This was Rena's topic. So why did you choose this topic?
I know this gay topic is mine. Well,
Yes.
it's Pride Month, so that's part of it. And because it's Pride Month, I feel like whenever Pride Month comes around, I have this like reevaluating thing that goes on with me. The same with like my birthday. It's like,
Okay.
huh, what's going on there? I don't know. I don't know. So yes, like Jess said, this is my topic, and it's my topic because it's something I've been pondering about for myself because it's Pride Month. So as a gay, lesbian, queer, or whatever woman, I was never a fan of labels.
Okay.
I always found myself struggling with how I identify and how to articulate that to people. And people just seem so comfortable with their labels, and I'm
Yeah.
just kind of like, I'm like Goldilocks. I'm like, that one's too hard, that one's too soft,
I'm
you know.
fucking
And I never found one that was like just right.
yeah.
So, and I feel like there are labels for everything when it comes to queerness. So it's like
Yeah.
your orientation, your aesthetic, like how you want to present,
Yeah.
your gender identity, like all that.
Right.
So I feel like it's confusing for me at times. So I just wanted to like open the floor for discussion. I'm like, maybe, I can dig it down for myself. Maybe
Mhm.
people listening, they'll hear something. I just feel like it's something that like, hey, let's explore this. So that's
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I fucks
Why
with
did
it.
why did you agree to this?
Okay, like you said, it is Pride Month. And when you suggested it, I was like, hell yeah, like, let's get into that. And I feel so many of us have had to ask ourselves that question, like, does this fit me? And I think honestly, this is the one of the first times that I had to choose a label. Like a label has been given to me in a lot of other ways. So I was black, I was born black, and that's just what I was born.
Ooh.
I was born a woman, and that's just what I was born. And so to have to choose something else outside of the norm, quote unquote, I think it's a very interesting topic to go into because, you know, I guess straight would have been what was just put on me, but it didn't fit. So this is the first time I actually had to choose something outside of myself that didn't fit, the norm of society. So you got your mouth agape. So I'm wondering what's up. What's up?
No, I just never thought of it that way. I'm just thinking
Yeah,
about it. I'm like, we didn't even get to choose our names.
right.
And the loops and the hoops that we have to go through to do that. So this is like the only thing where we get to like affix our own label.
Hmm.
And I'm
Hmm.
just like, wow, shit.
Yeah.
That's true.
It is
That's
true. It
it.
is
That's
true.
all.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to kind of go there because I feel like this is an interesting topic for I think a lot of queer people or a lot of people under the umbrella of LGBTQ plus. I don't know all the stuff. Y'all
The
forgive me.
letters.
I'm not a good gay, but I'm trying. I'm just
Girl.
kidding. I just don't know it all. I'm still learning. But yeah, so I feel like this is a cool topic and I'm ready to like really dive into it. So I will ask Rena what the agenda is for this episode.
Okay, everyone. The agenda for this episode is the dick. As
Period.
always, it's to dick it down, which stands for define, impact, and cope. So, what we do here and in this episode, we will start off exploring and defining what labels are, especially in the queer community. Then we will discuss the impact of labels on our lives. And lastly, we talk about how we cope with our understanding, experiences, and feelings concerning labels and their impact on our lives. Also, we make each section clearly known. So feel free to pause throughout the sections to give yourself time to answer if you want to. Maybe even jot down your answers and thoughts. Do what feels right for you. We've designed this to kind of be an interactive experience. So we hope you follow along with us. If not, that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Lovely. Thank you for that lovely explanation. And now we are to the define portion of the podcast. So, the definition. What is a label? To me, it is a name tag to describe what's inside of this meat container.
Meat container? Like,
Yeah, our body. They're meat containers,
ooh,
right? Um, so, and according to Google, like it's a classifying phrase or name applied to a person or thing. And I think that follows my own understanding in some way of what it means to like label something.
mhm.
So at this point in my life, I identify as queer, but it's been a long journey to that. I started into the journey into this alphabet land as bisexual, right? Because I thought it was easier for my family to like digest, right? And I thought lesbian was too harsh, and I felt it gave them hope that maybe one day I wouldn't be, and then they'd be okay with it, kind of thing. I don't know. I was at a weird place.
Okay, okay.
And then when I got to college, I labeled myself as a lesbian because I wanted to assert myself into the community without question and with an understanding that this is an identity that is fixed. There is no wiggle room. So see me as I am. It was very much a strong statement to the world not to question me. You know, I'm queer, don't question it. And I mean, if any of you see me, I mean, minus the haircut now, but before that, I just looked very not gay. So there was a lot of questioning about who I am, what I like, and stuff. So being a lesbian, that was very much like, no, this is what I am. And then I got married and I stayed with the lesbian label for a while until I noticed that maybe it didn't fit me anymore. And I told my wife at the time, I think I'm bisexual. So back to the bisexual. because my attraction to men seemed more than that of other lesbians in my life. So I didn't want to be an imposter, right? Then now I've arrived at queer because that's how I feel. So I guess to answer the question, no, I don't think my label sticks, and I don't believe that it has to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let them know.
Yeah, so
Let
that's
them
me.
know.
That's my definition, and those are the things that I have experienced with labels. So, what about you? How do you define labels or things of that nature?
Okay. So I define labels as a way of identifying something or someone.
Right.
So point blank, period.
Yeah.
When it comes to like queerness, I feel like the labels are usually, your typical straight, gay, lesbian, bi, other, the whole entire flag. And then there's this whole like label system with how you present,
Mm-hmm.
how you identify. So there's like stud slash butch, femme, stem, androgynous,
Mm-hmm.
etc. I too am like a bad gay. I don't know all the labels, and I feel like they just keep printing more off, and I can't
Yeah.
keep up.
Yeah.
When it comes to myself, I've really avoided giving myself a label. And
Mm-hmm.
I walk down the street, and people just kind of give me this look like, is you, ain't you?
Mm-hmm.
And it's from both sides. Like
Mm-hmm.
straights are like, gays are like, eh. You know, I settled on STEM just to give somebody something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and lesbian is like, so for like the aesthetic for how I present STEM,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like my actual orientation, I would say lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's just been a really interesting experience, and I feel like I'll get more into it in the impact,
Okay.
because I feel like the way I present, it doesn't really leave question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm gonna get into it more in the impact. Let's say
Okay.
with the impact. Let's say for the
Okay.
impact.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So that was definition, and now we are to the impact.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, for me, the impact of having to label myself in order to introduce myself to the world is that oftentimes, and even most times, I didn't do it for myself. I did it to appease my family and then to defy the world. And eventually, I did it to fit into a community. So the impact is that I never got to sit with how I truly felt about these labels. I was always afraid of most times of how I was perceived, first by the straight world and then by the queer one. And never really focusing on how I perceived myself or how I truly felt. And at this juncture, I'm not tied up to any label because I don't know what feelings tomorrow will produce. And if tomorrow I want to identify as something completely different, then I will, because this time around I am identifying for myself. And what other people think of me has no effect on that. And the impact of that is a huge weight off because other people's opinions are heavy.
Ooh. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a big one.
Mhm. Mhm.
I wonder, this is just a question off the top of my
Okay.
head, because you said other people's opinions are heavy, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering, and I feel like I asked this. I think it's just a question I need to ask. That is it that your label is sticking, or is it the heaviness of other people's opinions that are causing it to stick to you? Like when it comes to people labeling themselves. Do you get what I'm asking?
Um, okay, so you're saying when other people's labels do stick, because I don't think mine ever has. But
Right.
when
Wait.
people's labels do
Like
stick, is it because of the weight of society?
yes. Like
Um,
is it sticking because they truly identify with it, or at times it's like society kind of pressing that opinion upon them.
I mean, that's a tricky one because, yes, I mean, all of the labels that we have is because of society. Like,
True.
to be black is because society says we're black.
True.
But I identify with being black. And that has nothing to do with pressure. It has to do with a recognition that what they say is this thing, I feel like I'm that thing. You know what I mean? Like I feel very much in relation to what a black identity is, of the rhythm, of the seasoning, of the melanin, of the this, of the that, of whatever is included in black. I feel very connected to that.
Hmm.
So, yes, in a sense, black is the term that society gave. And so, therefore, yeah, that is the reason why I choose those terms to identify myself. But the feeling behind it and why I say I'm black is because I resonate fully, thoroughly with that thing. They could
Right.
call it greatness, they could call it whatever they want to, but I would identify with those attributes, I guess.
Okay. So you're pretty much
Right?
saying both. Like there are people who like, okay, this is the label you've affixed to me, and I'm
Hmm.
okay with that. But then I also feel like there are people out there where there is a label that's being pushed on them,
Hmm.
and they don't feel like it fits them.
Right.
And then
Right.
we have a whole other problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was just a quick question that I just wanted to throw out there because you said it's heavy. So I'm
It
just
is.
wondering, like, if people who are walking around, there's people who are walking around just like with this bravado, like, yeah, this is what I am. And then sometimes I'm wondering, I'm like, is that really you, or is that like what's really holding that label to you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think it just depends on the person. There are some people who just thoroughly identify with these set of attributes, and it has something to do with, the fact that other people want to perceive them this way. And there are some people that, yeah, they're just like, I have to be this. I meet a lot of people like that. So I don't know. That's a good question.
Both. It's both.
Yeah, yeah.
Depends on the human. It's being
Exactly,
stuck to.
exactly.
Okay.
Um, and what about you? So what's the impact for you then?
Okay. So I kind of like at the end of your definition, you said you don't really feel like labels stick.
Hmm.
So for me, the impact of labels for me is that I could never find one that really sticks for me. One that I
Okay.
would say, yeah, you know what? Like, let's put some super glue on this one. Like,
Hmm.
let's not have it be a magnet. Like, let this be a, Hillary Clinton, 2016 bumper sticker,
I'm weak.
like actual sticker, not a
Oh,
magnet. We're not removing
wow.
this. Like
Okay.
I feel like this is gonna happen so much that I am
Uh-huh.
gonna put this on the paint of my car and ruin
Uh-huh.
my resale value. Like that.
Okay. And you
Yeah.
never got that with
Yeah, I
anything.
never got that. I
Okay.
never felt that comfortable.
Okay.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like also the impact is that I've tried on so many for size.
Okay.
And I always said I'm not a stud. I always say that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but STEM doesn't quite get it either.
Yeah.
But I'm also definitely not feb. So this is like I think my issue with labels really comes from, um, it really comes from the presentation side of things.
Okay.
Like I don't really question if I'm attracted to men or not.
Wait,
Like
do you? Because it was a pause. It was a little pause there, baby.
like I'll see men like just like how like straight women will see a woman and be like, okay, oh she's
You can
cute.
admire the beauty.
It's kind of like that. Yeah, it's like, oh, you're handsome. I can see that.
Right.
But
But
do
then
I want
attractive.
to like be have relations with you or be in a relationship with you?
Relations. How old are you? I'm weak. Okay, you don't want to have relations with them.
Oh, wait, what do you mean? How old am I? Probably about a good 75 saying relations.
Exactly.
um, but yeah, it's just not to that point where it's like, oh, I gotta have that.
Yeah.
But also, I'm like, if that happens, I'm not gonna be like, oh no, I'm a lesbian, nah, you know.
Right.
So I think I think that's it. So I'm more talking about like my
Your
presentation because I
presentation.
feel like that's been more of an issue for me.
Oh.
Is like how I present to people. Like I feel like I'm not really one or the other. Like
Okay.
sometimes I have like a more feminine energy, and then sometimes I have a more masculine energy. Um, and I don't want to be confined to one. I think part of
Okay.
my issue, the impact with labels, is that I don't want labels.
Okay.
I really just don't want labels.
Mhm.
And I don't want to feel like I have to choose one. But I
Yeah.
do feel this pressure that like I see people around me and they are so with their labels and they're
Yeah.
so comfortable in their labels. They're like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is me. And that
Right.
makes me question myself and be like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I
Yeah.
want to keep this label? Why don't I
Mhm.
want to say like, ooh, this is what I am?
Mhm.
Like, am I not that? Like, and it'll spiral because of anxiety. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
I'm questioning my whole identity. I'm like, maybe I'm just not a lesbian. Like, maybe I'm just, what am
Wow.
I? Like, what is this? Um, and ah, I feel like and it's not that like, am I a lesbian or like, am I gay? I think it's like more of a questioning of how will I let people know then that that's what I am. Because I feel like that's what the labels are really about when it comes
Yeah.
to like your presentation. It's like I'm letting you know I'm this. But
Yeah.
then let's say I get on the apps or whatever. You know how everybody says, "Oh, I'm a STEM, I'm a stud, I'm a femme," and then you have people who are like femmes only, studs only, and I'm like, okay, what if I'm in my feminine energy when I'm talking to you, but maybe by the time we get to the date, that STEM energy comes out. Are you
Yeah.
you're gonna feel deceived?
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
but I was a femme and I may return to femme
I'm
like
weak.
in a couple days,
Yeah.
3 to 5
I think
business days.
yeah. Okay, go ahead. Because I have thoughts, but go ahead.
You have thoughts? Okay, cool. Keep
Yeah.
keep with the thoughts. So, you
Okay.
know, then it just creates this whole wheel of doubt, like I said, and
Yeah.
anxiety. Labels give me anxiety. That's the impact, and I just feel like for me, I don't feel like they're not necessary for me. I
Mm.
understand that they're necessary for other people, but for me, I'm just like like I just want to be open. Can my label just be open? Like maybe I should have like a label that says like interchangeable. I feel
You
like
say
label
interchangeable?
interchangeable.
Oh, what a label. Wow. Okay.
Right. It's like it's like the little label thing where you can slide the like paper out and then slide another one in. So like I'm just like a clear case and then you can just slide it in. This is what I am for today. Slide it out, put another one in, slide it in.
I kind of fucks with it. I mean,
Right.
it sounds weird, but I kind of fucks with it.
And
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, I think I'm just queer
Okay.
because I just want to be open.
Yeah.
I just want to be open to things. And I feel like labels close things off. And then when you start questioning your label, you can end up questioning everything altogether. And I
Yeah.
feel like sexuality is fluid and I want exploration. So, like, maybe my label should be either explorer or something, interchangeable,
Oh, Rita
explorer.
the Explorer. Dora.
I like it.
I'm
I like
fucking
it.
weak.
I like, you know what?
Wow.
That's going to be a Halloween costume. Watch. I'm going to show up.
Rita the Explorer.
Yeah.
I'm
And I'm just
weak.
like
Okay.
half like stud, half like femme, or just like a whole bunch of other shit
That'd
going
be fucking dope.
on.
That'd be dope as fuck. High key. High key.
um yeah, so that's where I am with it. I feel like when people have labels where they're like, oh, I'm just open or I'm just queer, and it's not like a really strongly fixed label. I feel like we tend to take people less seriously, like, oh, you're just playing around because you don't know. I'm like, there's so little in this world that I know.
Mhm.
But the
Mhm.
way you get to know things is through experiences. And I feel like sometimes these labels kind of close off that opportunity to have these experiences. I've had friends who are studs and they're like, yeah, like I ain't wearing this, or I ain't gonna let somebody like, strap me or whatever. And I'm like, you're missing like a whole like other side of
Sex.
things.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like a whole opportunity for pleasure. Like I can see if you tried it and said that like it's not for you, but um there's like a whole like rule book of how you conduct yourself under like a certain label. And
Mhm.
like maybe some people who are feminine, they're like, oh, I feel like I can't be more aggressive, but they would like to be more aggressive. And it's like I'm like, just be you. Like let's
Yeah.
just get to know each other, you know,
Yeah.
as each other, and not worry so much about like the labels. It's like if you get
Mhm.
me the way I present this day, the way I present that day, because I'm gonna present as several different people over the course of you knowing me, and
Yeah.
maybe even in a day.
Yeah.
I'm going to be several different, you're going to see several different energies. So get
Mhm.
to know all of that and be like, that is me. My label is me. My label is
Right.
Rena. And I didn't give
Right.
myself that label, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I feel like labels, ultimately, I feel like with labels, people tend to think they know you without knowing you just because you put that label on yourself.
Oh, wow. That's so true. That's so true. And I like what you said about people feeling like with their label they have to stick to certain like rubric. That reminds me of this girl I like was talking to, chatting with, and she was talking about liking this other girl who was also feminine, and she was like, "Oh, but that makes me feel like I'm not as feminine," and da 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 da. And I'm like, that's misogyny to think that there has to be someone masculine because there's a feminine. No, that's not what happens. Like you're both feminine and that's fine. And I think, you have all of these because of the labels and the restrictive nature of them, like you said, you have a lot of like stud for stud that like gets so much hate in the community. The
Like they really hate
bisexual
it.
yeah, the bisexuals get the hate. Like there's just so much um because I mean we're outside of the norm, right? The queer community, the bisexual, the LGBT, we're all outside of the norm. But in
Right.
that, we're still trying to normalize ourselves. And if you then further go outside of our comfortability of what's normal for our community, then now we're shunning you. And it's just so ridiculous because the thing is we're all just trying to figure it the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Like I definitely feel you about that. I present as feminine. Like, I wear the clothes that look feminine, but I am very much
A
so
nigga.
a nigga. I'm just a nigga. Like, I really am. But also, I am a princess. Like, so it's very
That is true.
confusing to have to explain that how I'm a real ass nigga that's a princess who wants to be pampered and left the fuck alone. Like, what? That is real weird. But that's who the fuck I am.
Right. That's
Period.
you. That's
And so
Jessica.
that's me in a nutshell. And so it's like, um, it's difficult because, you know, I think with the label thing, especially in our community, it's difficult to want to go against the grain even more so because here I am already outside of the average person in this country where we're majority straight people, or so they say, they self-identify as straight, and then here I am outside of that. So I'm trying my best to have a community, and you know what I'm saying. And then now, and then that's why so for so long, for real, I was very afraid to identify as bisexual because lesbians are cruel to the bisexual community, and it's like, damn, I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? And so, you want to fit into your communities and we want camaraderie. We want that, familial type of energy from people that we feel like we should be close to and things like that. And so the labels are very restrictive. I'll
Yes.
just say that. The labels are very restrictive. I agree with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Like I see so many people like we're queer. That's the whole point. We're supposed to be weird. We're supposed to
Yeah.
be outside of the norm, like you said. But then I see us struggling within the community, like if you're femme for femme, like it's
Yeah.
hard for them to find each other because nobody wants to admit they also want to be with a femme.
Right.
It's like, oh, I don't think she's gonna like me. I'm like, if you exist, somebody like you exists.
Exactly.
Like there's this reason why it's a thing,
Yeah.
you know? And stud for stud, I'm like, that's like the gayest thing you could be. And it's like, it's self hate. It has to be self hate.
Yeah.
It's like, I just, and it's like, okay, so that's like, I feel like that's in the lesbian community. Is it like that? Like when it comes to like the gay community? Like I feel
I
like,
mean, I feel like, yeah, you have your twinks, you have your bears, there's so many labels, and I don't know for sure if it's like such a stigma on it,
right,
where if two twinks want to be together, or two bears, or two tops, two bottoms. Like that's the thing. It's like we get so caught up in these labels that we just forget to vibe with people, which is how we got here in the first place. Like I
right,
just vibe with people because I like you and you're a dope ass energy, and I fuck with you. Like whether you're in a box or a body that looks different than maybe what I thought I was attracted to hinder myself from being able to actually have that connection, have that interaction. You never know what that person could do for you, for your spirit, or what you could do for them. To limit myself to only being able to, connect with a certain meat package, it's just ridiculous. I know meat package is kind of weird, but I just want to be weird right now. Okay.
okay, because we're being queer and that's what it is.
Exactly. Exactly. But no, I'm saying, to let someone's outward appearance affect the fact that you are vibing with them, because it happens a lot. There's a lot of, and that goes for anything. You'll
Right.
have these men that are very attracted to plus size women, but they feel conflicted because society has told them that they shouldn't be.
Because
Well,
it's
we're
not
fucking
attractive.
badass. So I don't know
Right.
why. But you know what I'm saying? They have these conflicting feelings like, oh, I am attracted, but I'm being told I shouldn't be. And that's the same for any of these labels. And I don't know. It's interesting.
It is interesting
Yeah.
because like if I step out, like because you were talking about how people kind of they see you, especially before you had your haircut,
Mhm.
um, and you present as femme, and they think, okay, that's it, you're femme.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of feminine women who have an issue with visibility as a result of that.
Yeah.
and feel like they're only limited to, more masculine presenting
Mm.
people. And another thing is, I'm not going to close myself off. Like when clothes are off, we're both women, unless
Period.
unless you're a man, and then that's
You're
something
not both
else,
women.
right? You're not. So, um, like I feel like I do think we need to get back to that point of just getting to know people as individuals. Because I know a whole bunch of studs who act really hard, but when you talk to them and when they start to feel a little comfortable, I'm like, wait a minute,
Hmm.
you were really a softie in there. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, it's
Yeah.
okay for you to feel how you feel.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Yeah.
okay for you to have, it's okay. It's okay. You can still wear your clothes and still be you. It's okay. Like you are
Yeah.
not your clothes. And that is my next question.
Okay.
You know, is the label you? And it's just kind of similar to the question I asked earlier, but it's slightly different. Is the label you, or do you end up molding yourself to fit the label over time because you want to hold on to the label?
I think my answer is going to be the same. I think there's some people that fully identify as, excuse me, the thing that they say they identify as,
Hmm.
Um, but I think over time you kind of you shift into, I don't know. That's a really interesting one because I'm thinking of myself. I,
Okay.
I I don't think I'm a fair judge of this because I have had so many different labels and they just never really did the thing. So I
Right.
didn't mold myself one way or the other. I was just me and I was seeing that the label was like not fitting me. So I
Okay.
was just like adjusting and moving.
Hmm.
But I do think, what do I think? As you get older, you just mold yourself into you. And if that's your label and it fits and you're like, yeah, then what am I trying to
Ooh.
say here? I
Ooh.
don't know. I don't know. Because I think, when I think of somebody being labeled and then being really like stuck in the grit of it, I really do think about the harder, labels. So the more masculine of labels, like your bears or something, or like your studs or something. I think, they put their feet in, their heels in, and there's this unwillingness to let in like super feminine energy. Like you said, oh, I'm not gonna let her do this to me. Like, you're a woman and she likes women. Like, that's for me. Like, if I ever find somebody who's like, oh, I can't because I'm this label, okay, we don't need to do nothing else because I'm a woman and I like women in all capacity. Like, I want to do all the things to you. So, um
Okay. Okay.
mhm, yeah,
Oh.
girl. Yeah, girl. Because I like women. And regardless of whether you want to present as masculine, which I'm attracted to, if you want to present as androgynous, I'm attracted to. If you want to present as feminine, I'm attracted to. I am attracted to all of it. But I am still a woman and I want to do all the things I want to do with all the people. So I don't know. I don't know. I do think people kick their heels in
Okay.
sometimes. But that's not to say that that's not just who they are.
Okay. I agree with you. I agree that there are some people who just know and they're like, yes, this is it. I'm good. I feel like I was one of those people who really tried to make a label fit.
Okay.
Not stud, but like I think I really tried to like kind of really step into the STEM like really strongly.
Okay.
Or maybe even like maybe a little more sturdy than a STEM. I don't know what that would be called. I don't know if that's
Bitch,
like
not
a
more sturdy.
the STEM. I don't know, like a hard STEM. I don't know.
A stutter stem?
That's
A
the STEM.
stem. A stem. Okay. Okay.
Not a stutter STEM. Um, but and then I just got to this point where I'm like, nah, I can't wear like that skirt or that dress. But I was wearing that stuff at one point.
Yeah.
And then over time, when I started to like when I started to kind of come out and step into my own, I'm like, yo, I like streetwear, And then over time, it became more like I felt like okay, people know me as this.
Okay.
And is it gonna be like weird? Because now I'm starting to feel like, oh, my feminine energy returned. Like I want to try this on. I want to try to see what I look like in this. And I went through this kind of period where I was just kind of like, even like my more masculine presenting clothes, they just stopped kind of feeling like I'm not really getting the look I'm going for.
Okay.
Um, because I felt like I had to do one or the other. So now I'm at this point though where I'm like, I can do it the fuck all. And a lot of
Period.
it too was that I was trying to like thwart unwanted attention.
Mm.
But
Mm.
it like I had this thing where like if I'm more feminine, like I didn't want to be treated like or approached like
A lady.
right.
Mm.
So I had that sounds horrible when you say it that way.
I mean,
I was just I had this thing in my head going, and now I'm like, you know what? People are gonna approach me regardless because they did,
mm,
and like I'm like I can still be me and I can say no. So I think as I kind of own myself more and I understand that I am allowed to say no and I can't really control what people do, then I started to focus more on like, okay, what do I want?
yeah.
And then I started to feel more comfortable kind of exploring. And I'm not like all the way there yet, but
Mm.
hey, like it's like I'm stepping out there. I'm testing the waters, you know, and I'm
Okay.
more comfortable with the idea of it. And whereas before, I'm like, I'm only shopping exclusively in the men's section. I wouldn't even consider looking in the women's section. But
Wow.
then lately, I was like, you know what? These hips, women's clothing fits them.
Hmm.
But men's jeans have deeper pockets. So
Hmm.
it's, but men's jeans are pretty much women's jeans nowadays. So that problem has kind of been solved for me.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, they just as tight. So it's okay.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
we're the same size. It's all right.
Right.
And men be having, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do it to them. But anyway, it's chicken nuggets, the hips. Anyway, uh, so yeah, that's why I asked that question because I think over time I did try to make the label stick, even though I don't think I was fully comfortable with it.
Hmm.
And it wasn't really part of it was society, part of it was like okay, like that visibility you get from
Hmm.
having a more masculine presence. I think that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want
Yeah.
you to know I
Hmm.
am gay. And if you step
Yeah.
to me, you know I'm gay. I
Right.
ain't gotta say it. It's like, you know, you already know. It ain't like family, show up at family functions. I'm like, you know. If you don't know, I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
So it's a way of me to like kind of make that announcement without having to make it.
Okay.
But then once I accepted, like, you know, most people know, and I don't really have to disclose that if I don't want to. Then I was like, oh, well, maybe I don't have to like wear this all the time. Maybe I can try other things. That's not going to take away from my gayness, but I think it kind of, I think I used to think it would.
I got you. I
So
got you.
that's where I'm at.
Okay, and that goes to I saw a girl I had met at the conference we went to, and she presented as feminine on her Instagram, and she was like, it was after I had did my post about like being, whatever, both. I had two pictures, and then like maybe a month later, I saw her do something similar, and she was like, it's really scary for her because are the girls that she likes gonna like her back? And that's the other thing too. It's like that's maybe why people are digging their heels in because, if I'm masculine presenting and these certain women who I want to be with are down for me, are they gonna be okay with my feminine energy making an appearance and
Yeah.
being, at the forefront? If we're both in dresses, are you okay with that? Like, and I don't know. I do feel like labels are just restrictive because there's some times that I want to go out and I want to look like I want to look. I want to look like a good, young gentleman. I mean, maybe not a young gentleman, but like, I do have those days where I just want to present very differently. And if you see me in that energy and you think that that's what you're going to get all the time, sorry for you, baby. That's not it. I don't know. It's very difficult because we can't just exist. We have to always be presenting ourselves to other people and offering ourselves up as, you know, as these like little bite-sized pieces of ourselves. This is who
Right.
I am. Like, no, this is who I am today.
Right.
Hello, today this is me. Like,
It's,
um,
yeah.
so I don't know. It's a very interesting thing, but
I don't want to have to make a declaration every time I decide to change my wardrobe. It's like,
mhm,
oh, you're gay, so you're gonna look this way. It's like, nah, like in a couple of years, I'll look this way. And I feel like it's a whole thing again. And people always want to come to you and be like, well, what are you now? I'm like,
right,
I'm still me. It's like,
right.
well, you don't cut your hair low down like a nigga. So what you trying to be now? I'm like,
I'm still me.
nothing. I'm still me.
Like,
I'm like, I'm tired of that.
yeah,
Like, I'm
it's
tired
what?
of it.
It's what? I agree. I agree.
It's like if
It's
I decide I want to wear a
I
dress and be a baddie one day, I don't want to have people
period.
have to question like what's going on. And I feel like straight people don't get that. Like I see men married to women who look like their brother,
I
and
weak.
nobody says, well, what are we doing here, Carol? Are we like? I see you've been wearing Billy's clothes. Like we're transitioning.
You
Like what are
say
you?
that a lot. And I really need to see these pictures of these women that look like brothers that are wearing their husband's clothes. You say this so much and I really need an example because
It's a thing. It's a
I believe
thing.
you. I believe you. I just want an example
Okay,
one day.
I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna Google something. I'm gonna send it to you after this episode.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you
Good.
know, because it exists. It
Okay.
exists. Like no, but it's just like women who are super feminine. If they like, decide, oh no, I want to like, dress down a little bit. I don't want to like do it up glam all the time. Nobody's like, oh my gosh, what are we like? Are you going for an androgynous look now? Like, what are you got? Hey, you know.
That's
But in the gay
yeah.
community, it's like you decide to cut your hair, or you decide to grow your hair out, or you decide to dye your hair. It's like, what are we doing? What are
Yeah.
we now? And it's
Right.
just like,
What are we now? That's funny. That's fucking hilarious. That's real shit. People always want to know what you are, which is just
right,
like, I'm just me. I'm just.
right. I'm like,
I
why is
think
that not enough?
why is that not enough? I think that brings us to the cope though.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, dang, we've been in here. Okay, yeah, let's get to the
It's chit
code.
chat. Okay. I think for me, I'm coping by saying things aloud and seeing how they feel. I'm just like, oh, does that? And I talk with people too about all the new labels that are out there.
Okay.
And if I hear something that resonates, I know you were talking about the labels and how they're printing them off, but I think it's cool. I think it's cool to be coming up with new terms that if we're going to continue labeling ourselves, which for this foreseeable future, it seems like that's what the thing is. I think it is awesome that there are new things that are out there that are able to kind of sit with people in a more authentic way. And so when I hear stuff, I think I let it rock around in my head a bit and see if it sounds right. If it does, I'll keep it. And if it doesn't, I throw it out. You know, um, there's so many things that I've heard in the last year and a half that I'm like, oh, actually, wow, yeah, that is a thing. So for instance, demisexual, that just means I need to get a connection with you before I'm ready to like bust you down. And like that's how I've always been. But now that's just a word that I can say. So I don't have to fumble around for my words for you to have an understanding of who I am. So in that sense, I do think it's nice to have a clear cut understanding of myself and then I can give it to you. Um, and so I think also that I'm coping by not allowing the world at large to be or have a huge part or hand in how I identify. It's just me. So, hi, everybody. I'm Jessica, and today I am queer. And for me, that's enough.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. What about you? How are you coping?
Well, before I move on to how I cope,
Okay.
I want to say like I have no problem with the labels being printed off. I too am really interested in hearing what comes out because it gives an opportunity to hear. I like hearing people's stories. I like hearing what people are into.
Yeah.
And those times where I can see a little bit of myself in it. And if I don't see myself in it, that's okay too. But just knowing that, okay, that's not for me, but that's out there for someone else. And that's a thing that's out there. Or hey, maybe in a few years, that may be something that I know is out there and I may want to try.
Yeah.
Um, I'm fine with labels as codes, or like, things that we can play around with. I
Yeah.
think it's just when we get stuck with these
Yeah.
labels,
Yeah.
that's when, when they start to feel restrictive and you feel like you can't take them off
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they're shame, they're like, slap that label back on. What you think you're doing?
Mhm.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, like, no, I'm gonna just lift this out because I have a nice, clear, just like, and if I don't want to put anything in there today because I don't feel like presenting or playing with y'all today, they're like, what are you? That's
Clear.
what I am.
I'm Rena
Mind your
the
business.
Explorer.
Right.
Rena.
Stupid. Anyway, so that's how I cope. I'm
Okay.
trying to cope with this. Anyway,
With me, I know, being ridiculous.
I cope by continuing to be open and honest with me about me and not worry about a label.
Yeah.
When people get to know me, they'll know me, not what they think they know about me based on a label.
I
So
love
that's That's how I cope.
I love that.
Yeah,
I,
just get to know me. Like, trust me, when you first meet me, like you'll see traces. It's not like I'm just going like boom, surprise. But over time you'll realize, oh, there's a lot of moving parts to me. And I feel like that's how it is with everybody. Once you get to know a person, everybody's like an onion. You peel back those layers and you see other things about people. Sometimes you'll see things about people that they don't even see about themselves. And that's part of the reason of being in relationship with people, period, is that you get
mhm.
to learn more about yourself and others
That's
through
very true.
learning about others.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. I love that. I love that. Well, this was a fun ass episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it also. And so, to recap, both Rena and myself have found that labels can be both restrictive and limiting at times, sometimes calling into question our own sexuality. When we both released the pressure that comes from having to label ourselves, we realized that we are enough with or without a label. And you guys are enough with or without a label. So that is the recap of the episode. And this was just really such a fun one. I'm glad that you brought this up. I'm glad that we were able to celebrate Pride in this way. And I'm happy Pride. Yeah. I just want to do a shout out really quick to all the folks under the umbrella out there doing their breast. So gay. Out there doing their best. And I just want to say happy pride to all you beautiful people. And what about you? Who do you want to shout out?
I'm just going to say happy Pride, everybody, and shout out to all those getting to know themselves and honoring every facet of themselves.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And now we are to my favorite part. If you are new, we are to the meditation section. And what that looks like is we take a couple deep breaths, we set an intention, take another couple breaths, and then I let you go about your day. So, what I want you to do for me is take a big deep breath. We'll take a second deep breath. And we'll take one more deep breath. And now we'll set an intention. I intend to continue finding myself, to continue exploring myself. If that needs a new label, to continue labeling myself. If it doesn't, then to continue not labeling myself. To really just flow into who I am as I continue to grow.
I love that. Just let it flow.
Let it flow. Yeah. What about you?
My intention is to continue to be open and honest with me about me, and that is it.
That's
Just
lovely. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's like it doesn't matter the label. Just be honest with myself.
hmm
And
hmm
if people feel the need to label that, that's their business.
I love that. Okay, we'll take our last set of breaths. Take another big deep breath with me. We'll take a second deep breath. And we'll take our last deep breath. All right. Your intentions have been set for the day. Go out there and flourish, sis. Today doesn't have to be a mess.
But it's okay if it is.
Show Liz, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in again. I cannot believe we are episode 41 already. And y'all have been rocking with us. So thank you, thank you, thank you for continuing to vibe with us, share with your friends, tell your peoples about us. We have a episode coming up this month with another podcast called Minority Report. And we are so excited about that. We hope you will tune in and check us out and check them out. They are a fabulous bunch. And so we just can't wait for that. We also have other things in the works. Please keep a lookout. We're going to have y'all with some fun shit all throughout the year. So that is all that I have. Is there anything else that you have, Rena?
Oh, that's it. I think you did an excellent job of summing that up.
Perfect, perfect. So until next time, we're going to catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.
Peace.
It's a mess.
Hey, that's all I can do.
It's
I
a
can't
mess.
sing.
It's okay. He's gonna talk over my singing though. Okay, it's ready now.